guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Pheonix and I'm a storyteller. Today we will be reading The Day My Mustache Ran Away by Pheonix Jones. That's me. Preface. Howdy there, friends. I'm Bobby Joe Billy Hair Mustache, and welcome to my sad tale. A tale of heartbreak, misery, and love. I was a happy man once, going about my day-to-day life just like any other feller out here in the West. A cowboy through and through. Wrangling cattle, kissing ladies, all the cowboy fixin'. But my most favoritest thing in the dadgum world was grooming my glorious mustache. At least it was, until it up and left me. That's where our story begins. The day my mustache ran away. Part 1. The westernest westerner in the West. Now I was a handsome young man, the kind of cowboy that swept the ladies off their feet. The kind all the other fellers would tip their hats to as they rode by. The key to my glorious beauty was my thick, luscious, jet black handlebar mustache. Like any real cowboy, I had had that stash since I done popped out of my mama. On this particular day, I had been having a heck of a time trying to get my mustache to look any kind of presentable, and I must admit I did lose my temper a bit. "Come on, you dang thing," I hollered at my mustache. "How am I supposed to get any sort of respect from the cattle with your face in every which way like that?" My stash just sat there, looking like a tarantula stuck to my face. "Dadgummit," I cried. "If that's how you're gonna act, we're gonna have to pull out the pomade." I grabbed my tin of pomade from a cabinet and got a good handful of the stuff in my hand. Smelled like tar and tobacco, done had a baby, but I didn't see any alternative. "Now listen here, you dang poofball. You best be behaving today, 'cause we got to date with Miss Lily Magoo this afternoon." I scolded it as I smeared the stinky stuff all up in it. "She's giving us a chance 'cause of my charm and your hairiness, so you better not mess this up." The stash, now glued into place, sat silently on my face. Every hair was in its place, and even though the goo was burning my nostrils, at least I finally looked good. I threw on my boots and tilted my hat, ready to head into town. Now here in the West, the best place to live is Western Town. Named that 'cause it's the westest Western town that ever did exist. To even step into this acreage, you have to have a stylish stash. Now, not just the man either. Western Town was so western, the women and all the youngins had stashes adorning their faces. Miss Lily Magoo was the finest stashed woman in town. She was so well stashed that she was the doggone mare. Her beautiful golden locks flowed like melted butter down her shoulders, merging perfectly with her equally glossy stash. She was a western angel. She had graciously accepted my request for a date. Lucky me. I rode up to the town saloon, where the lovely Lily was already waiting for me. Her majestic locks rippled in the desert wind. "Howdy, Bobby, Joe," her sweet voice greeted me. "You about ready to go inside?" My heart fluttered at her voice. I could feel myself starting to go all red in the face. Yes, ma'am, Miss Magoo," I stammered, nearly falling off my horse. I clambered down to join her on the ground. I offered her an arm, and into the saloon we went. Once inside, Lily and I sat down at the bar and ordered a couple sarsaparillas. "So, Bobby," Miss Lily said, sipping her drink, "tell me about yourself. What are you angling at? Courting the mayor of Western Town?" I nearly spit out my drink. What kind of question was that? Courting? This was our first date. I ain't even thought about courting. I could feel myself starting to sweat. I swallowed hard. Well, Miss Magoo," I stammered. "Please," she sighed, putting her hand on mine. "Call me Lily." Things were moving so fast. First she tells me to call her by her first name, then she touches my hand. I was starting to sweat bullets. "Lily," I squeaked, tongue swelling up like a rattlesnake bite. I'm a humble man, but I do believe I could make you happy. I don't got much in the way of money, but I do got my love and my mustache." Then the drops of sweat dripping down my face became too much for my pomade to handle, and my mustache poofed back into its tarantula-like state. Miss Lily's eyes widened. Snatching her hand to her mouth, she shrieked as if she had just been shot. The saloon went silent. We both got up in a huff, making our stools fall to the ground with a crash. Please, Lily, I pleaded, covering my stash with my hand. I'm just having a bad hair day is all. A bad hair day, Miss Magoo scoffed. Real Westerners don't have bad hair days. The whole saloon was now glaring at me with a stank eye worse than a skunk's behind. Get out of my sight before I decide to kick you out of my town for violating my eyeballs with your mangy stash, she hissed. Utterly humiliated, I ran out of that place as fast as my legs would carry me, all the way home. I had gone from the luckiest man in the world to the most hated in 10 minutes flat. Part 2. The day my mustache ran away. How could you do this to me? I sobbed at my mustache in the mirror. You knew this was my shot at my better life, and you done went and ruined it. Fuming with anger, I went and filled the basin with water. Why can't you just behave? I cried, dunking my face over and over in the water. I pulled and tore at my stash, smacking it around and getting angrier every time I slapped my own face. I must have pulled too hard, 'cause I ended up ripping a few hairs out of my stash, which snapped me out of my hysteria. I slid to the ground and just cried. I cried and I cried until I fell asleep, dreaming about herding cattle and kissing Miss Lily on her silky stash. Next morning, I was awoken by the sunlight dripping in through the window. All of a sudden, the memories from yesterday came flooding back to me. I sighed, decided I didn't care no more, and walked out the house to go herd my cattle to the next pasture for the day. When I got to the pastures, I whistled at my cattle to get moving, but they just looked at me like a stranger and continued grazing where they were. Confused, I tried whistling again, but still to no avail. Then I remembered, in my embarrassment yesterday, I had ran home without my horse. Maybe they didn't want to listen 'cause I wasn't riding him. So off I went into town. On my way back to the saloon, I got some funny looks. Women covering their children's eyes and hurrying them along. Men giving me nasty glares. Didn't think much of it since I was sure my mustache was still a mess. Finally, I made it to the saloon. My handsome horse, Harold, that I've had since I was a child, was standing there, just where I left him. I walked up to him and started rubbing his snout, and was just about to saddle up when all of a sudden I was pushed over into the dirt. What in tarnation? I shouted, brushing dirt off my clothes. A big burly feller was looking at me, arms crossed. "This ain't your horse," he said, gruffly. "The heck it ain't," I grumbled. "I've had Harold since I was a little tie." The man shook his head. "You don't look like the same guy that rode him in yesterday, so you better scram before I put you flat in the dirt again." "What do you mean, not the same guy? I was here with Lily Magoo. We had a whole fiasco, don't you remember?" I said, now thoroughly annoyed and confused. "I'm Bobby Joe Billy Hair Mustache." The burly man laughed. "You ain't fooling no one. Bobby Mustache actually has a mustache, and you certainly do not." My heart dropped into my boots, and I pushed past him to peer into the water trough. I could not believe my eyes. My face was as hairless as a baby's bottom. I felt faint, like I could upchuck any second. In a daze, I rushed back home and into the washroom. I stared at myself in the mirror and touched my hairless face. My mustache was gone, clean down to the stubble. I stumbled into the kitchen to have a sit down, and there in my spot was a poorly written note. "I done went and ran away. Sorry I ruined your life. Didn't mean to. Love stash you." My eyes started welling up like I'd just cut a bunch of onions. How could I have made my beloved stash feel so guilty? He was my pride and joy. I should have never been so cross with him. Crumbling the note some, I sobbed. "I'm so sorry I treated you so unkindly. I'd have changed my name to Babyface McDinglehead." I slumped to the ground, utterly muddled, the poof of air from my body knocking all my napkins off the table. Could this day get any worse? I asked myself, picking up the mess of papers on the ground. As I went to pick up the last napkin that had floated itself onto the kitchen floor, I noticed some strange brush-like marks on the ground. I dropped the napkins back down and got right up close to those wee little marks. "Could it be?" I gasped. One brush mark turned to 2, then 3, the numbers I ain't learned yet. It was a trail, little bushy mustachy prints, leading out of my kitchen door right from the spot I had found the note. My heart leapt for joy. "Yee-haw!" I exclaimed. There's hope yet of finding my darling stash. I grabbed a satchel and stuffed it full up with food and water and slung it over my shoulder and booked it back to town. Mr. Burly Man was still lurking outside the saloon, but I didn't have a single other care in the world. I hopped onto Harold's back. "Hey!" Burly Man yelled, drawing his gun. "That ain't your horse, you no good baby face." Without a word, I snapped the reins and gave Harold a spur, and off we went. Mr. Burly Man ran after us, shooting all willy-nilly, but even though there were bullets whizzing past my head, I rode on. It was time to find my Stashie, whatever it took. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when I post more great stories like this. Have a suggestion for a book? Be sure to leave it in the comments, and maybe it'll appear in a video. Thanks for listening. Bye.